Hi, I'm Susi Windeler. I'm a programmer working on Crowfall at ArtCraft Entertainment, and this is my murder of crows. I was born in Germany. My mother is German and my father is American. They met when my father was stationed outside of Stuttgart. My great-grandmother actually introduced them. I had a pony. I am actually a little girl that had a pony. His name was Jerry Lee. He was a Shetland pony and I was terrified of him. What I really wanted to do was get into the games industry. That's been a dream of mine since I was a kid. I got my first Game Boy at 5, but we had an Atari in the house for as long as I can remember, and I was already playing the DOS games and the, giant floppy disks. So we moved to the United States when I was 7. Specifically, we moved to Colorado. Colorado Springs is a very predominant military city. It has a lot of military bases, and since my father is a retired lieutenant colonel, Colorado Springs made a lot of sense for us. We moved in the summer of between 1st and 2nd grade. My English was awful, and I didn't have very many friends, so I ended up turning pretty heavily towards video games. Tetris was one of my favorite games on it. Tetris was, I'm still in love with the music. Mario and the 6 gold coins. I mean, this was back on when all the games were black and white. We played a lot of Captain Keen. We played a lot of a game called Bush Buck, which was a geography game that you had to fly around the world and collect clues. I got a Sega Genesis when I was about 5 or 6, and that was my primary system for years. I was jealous of my friends once we did come to the United States that had Nintendos, because I didn't have a Nintendo until the N64. So like most people on the N64, the game that was huge for me was Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. One of the best games ever made. One of my favorite games series of all time actually is Harvest Moon though, which was also an N64 game. And the thing that was interesting about that is in the original Harvest Moon, you could get married and have a family and everything, but you could only play as a male character. So from a very young age, I was used to playing male protagonists and falling in love with female characters. But me and my girlfriends who also played Harvest Moon, we all talked about the best girl to marry. So that's what I learned as a kid, is if you give the pink-haired girl a flower every day, she'll fall in love with you. In middle school, I had this best friend, Kimmy, and she got me into Ultima Online. And in Ultima, we both dated and married the same guy. I played a lot of other MMOs at the time. I jumped into EverQuest. I played High Elf Cleric. I spent a lot of time in EverQuest. We also played Dark Age of Camelot. Earth and Beyond was another one that I played. Galaxies was the next game that really was a key game for me, Star Wars Galaxies, because that was the first MMO that I played that you didn't have to fight things. It was almost like going back to Harvest Moon. So the cool thing about Galaxies is that you could be an entertainer or a doctor. You never actually had to leave town. I remember playing EVE Online. I mostly was just running supplies and making money and doing homework while my ship kind of went and hoping that I didn't get attacked. And then I played WoW for a really, really long time. At this time, I was also working at GameStop. Fun fact, I worked at GameStop for 8 years in multiple locations. Now we're in college land. Right around July of 2010. I needed 15 more credit hours and I somehow convinced my parents to pay for me to go to Germany for a year to study at the University of Regensburg. So Terra came out while I was in Germany, and I got really, really into making beautiful costumes in Terra, just decorating my character and outfits and stuff. I also played some Rift while I was in Germany. Rift was an interesting game. It's funny that when I go back to Rift, I get really, really distracted by collecting shiny things. I really like non-combat systems in MMOs. I have a serious addiction to buying games and I can't even explain it. The other thing I'm addicted to buying are minis, because I started painting minis when I was 14. 10 plus years of painting minis, I improved a little bit. And then I graduated in 2012. The first degree that I got from the University of Colorado at Boulder was a degree in business administration with a focus on human resources. which I can't say I've ever done any human resources work, but that is what my first degree was. So I come back to the States, I have a bunch of job interviews lined up. Every single one of them was in sales. The reason I was applying for sales positions was they were people that were actually hiring and responding. So I went to Fond du Lac, Wisconsin and sold books door to door. I was really good. And then my town got hit by a 100-year flood. So I left Wisconsin to get a couple interviews for sales for various things. And the one that I ended up sticking with was a company in Denver that sold copiers. Yep, I was a copier salesperson. And the sales job that I had was not 100% commission. They actually paid a salary and gave us like health insurance. I did not make commission on top of that because I could not sell a copier to save my life. So I quit selling copiers. I moved to Mountain View, California, and I start networking to get myself a job. And I'm at an event where people are presenting their apps. And I run into this amazing woman who has this really cool idea. Her name is Frances. I love her a lot. And she's got an app in a company called Campus Quad. So I started working at Campus Quad. Campus Quad was an app for college students that was an event finding app. So I did everything from on-the-ground marketing to social media marketing. Those were the two things that I did a lot of. We would go to student groups on campus and talk about the app. And at some point I started leading teams, which was pretty cool. I got to lead 2 international teams. I got to lead 2 teams of developers, both web developers, but one was international, one was in the States. Leading developers taught me a lot about management, and certainly leading people remotely taught me a lot about management. I also did a lot of QA testings. When I started the company, I was employee number 4. By the time I left, there were like 30 of us. The thing that was really cool is they let me work from home when we moved back to Colorado. So we moved back to Colorado, and the guy that I was dating, that I moved back and forth with, I kind of realized that what he was doing, coding and writing code for games, I could do too. That's exactly what I did. Going back for my computer science degree was hell. I'm not gonna lie, like that. I learned a lot about time management when I worked from home for a year for Campus Quad. I actually learned most of my time management techniques from National Novel Writing Month, which is a writing challenge. In November, you write 50,000 words. I've won 3 times. And something like writing 50,000 words in a month teaches you a lot about how to manage your time. So the skills that I learned there, I applied to working from home for 40 hours a week, and then also continued to apply when I was working from home for 40 hours a week and doing a computer science degree. When I graduated from the University of Colorado at Boulder the second time with a degree in computer science, my first job was as a back-end web developer doing PHP for a company in Salt Lake City, Utah. I had a rough time after getting out of the college vibe, meeting like young single people. So I played a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, which was kind of glorious to go home every day and just play games, because after working 40 hours and doing a degree in computer science for 2 years, I had freedom. And I played on the PS4 version because one of the first purchases I made for myself was a 65-inch 4K TV. It was beautiful. It was the very first thing I had in my apartment. I had like the air mattress and the TV. I meet this really, really cool group of people that I joined their guild. Final Fantasy, we call them free companies. But so I joined their guild and we just really, really click. Like, I got really, really close to these guys and we start to get to know each other, and I'm like looking forward every day to go online and like chat with them. I couldn't make friends in real life, so I made friends in Final Fantasy. The ironic thing was they lived in Denver. This group of really, really awesome people who I loved hanging out with in-game lived in the area I had left. So while I'm still in Utah, in February of 2015, I noticed my Facebook start to blow up with this Kickstarter that was about to start, and all the gaming news and MMO news that I had watched. And hey, like, this is a hardcore PvP MMO. I actually wasn't that into PvP, but when I saw that Gordon and Todd were working on it, not that I had any idea who Gordon and Todd were, but I saw the games they had worked on. Ultima, Galaxies, Wizard 101, Pirate 101, which I didn't talk about Wizard 101, but I definitely played it a lot. I backed Crowfall within the first 2 hours of the Kickstarter going live. And since I was a Crowfall backer, I actually was looking forward to my weekly Crowfall emails, and I noticed that at the top they were hiring for interns. So I applied for Crowfall. I was actually also interviewing with another company in Boulder, Colorado. I got an offer from the company in Boulder, so I was totally gonna accept their job offer. And then I didn't, because I got the job offer with Crowfall instead. So I gave up the Boulder, Colorado to come to Austin, Texas and work on Crowfall. I could have never imagined working for a team this great. Working for ArtCraft is like being a part of a family, the way that the team looks out for each other. It's just nice to work with people that really, really care about you and people that are so easy to get along with, and the fans. So I was fortunate enough to be selected to go to Gamescom, probably because I speak German. But the thing that was really, really cool about going to Gamescom is like, we had fans who saw me on live stream with Blair and wanted to talk to me, and that was really, really cool. And it was really, really fun chatting with fans who love the game. And seeing new people get excited about the game while we were in Germany was incredible. That's kind of my life in a nutshell, and a lot of my MMO history. I am very grateful that I get to be a part of that experience, and I hope to continue to be a part of that experience for a long time to come. Thanks for watching.